Hello, everyone. So we are back. So it's Dave
3
and Brian of
The Silvered Fox
and Dash of Dave. We're on episode 3. Who knew?
Still going. Still got things to say.
Yes. Always stuff to say,
Oh, yeah.
Brian. Always stuff to say.
Too much to say. Lots to say. Not too much. Lots to say.
We do have a countdown timer though going, so that we've got
We don't
kind
get
of
carried away.
we kind of
So,
stay
stop now. Go.
within
Duck
a
and
certain
roll
parameter.
out.
Brian's been warned not to hum or swear, because I don't know whether anybody noticed the beep from last week, but the beep from last week was me going beep and then speeding it up until it sounded like beep. So I was really like, what a challenge, like, where am I going to get a beep from? So,
You not buy one on Exit. It has everything else. Designer beeps.
where on earth, where can I, but that's by your beeps here.
Yeah, get your beeps. Maybe that's a gap in the market. Designer beeps.
You can fill that gap with a beep then.
Phoning famous people and going, can you just beep for me so I can sell it? This is Pierce Brosnan beeping. This is James Bond beeping.
So yes, we're back for another craft, banter and chat, as CBC, as we've termed it, CBC, because it's easier to say than craft, banter and chat.
Yeah. You notice I don't even try.
Go on, try.
No.
Try.
No.
Try.
Shan't. Do one at a time. Craft.
Yeah.
Comma. Banter. And chat.
There you go. See, you can say it. So
Just slowly.
never say no. Never say never.
When
I can always speed
I've got
you
the right
up.
teeth in.
I could speed you up. I could do a soundbite and make it
Pinky and Perky. You remember them?
Yes, I do remember Pinky and Perky. I liked Pinky and Perky. I seem to remember I liked Pinky and Perky, but I think I've watched them since and I found them terrifying. They're like because they're pigs, aren't they? So
High-pitched pigs, yeah.
but they're a bit scary. I don't like animated things. I don't like puppets. You know, like as a child, you don't see the sinister side of it, but like with puppets, I always find them to be a bit horror movie creepy. It's like I don't like porcelain dolls because like they remind me of horror movies and musical boxes. I like the sound of musical boxes, but there are some that do sound like.
That's because they get used so much in horror movies. She opened the box, the music played, and then she died horribly.
But I'd love to, you know, if I had a lot of money or I won the lottery or something like that. Do you know those really old-fashioned ones with a big, like metal disc that turns very slowly?
Oh yeah,
that has all of the
very plinky plonky
noise. But I also like, you know, my love of clocks. I notice every day your love of clocks. In fact, I wonder if people out there can hear my love of clocks because
I don't know actually, because some of them are ticking quite loudly.
Yeah. I don't know whether you heard that, because they don't always tick in the same way either, but they are quite rhythmic and I find it quite soothing. But
did you put a picture?
Yeah, I did put a picture up. Yeah,
we did take pictures, didn't we?
Heaven knows what we're going to. Oh, I'll put the pictures on that you sent me. So I asked Brian to send me some pictures to put in the video for last time, but by the time he sent me the pictures, I'd already edited the video. So the pictures that you'll see this time will be mostly the things that Brian had sent last time. So heaven knows what will be in episode 4 because like
start knocking on people's doors.
Yeah, getting other people's photos.
Ew.
Send us your photos, maybe.
We thought we'd do a bit of
Yeah, no, I was going to say about the clock.
Oh, go on. Sorry, go on.
So, yeah,
go on.
Don't interrupt me. If I had a lot of money, I'd also like a clock, one of those ones that chimes every quarter hour.
Oh yeah.
So it chimes on the quarter past, and it does a different chime on the half past, and a different chime on the quarter to, and then on the hour it chimes, and then it does the numbers of I mean, like, it drives me insane.
I'd
probably.
never sleep if I slept in
Can
this
you imagine
house.
trying to do a video with that going in the background?
You'd be like that. Sorry, just ignore that. Yeah, sorry.
Well, it'd have to be when I won the lottery, because then it could be in a wing.
A long way away.
A wing of the house. Not a wing of the bat or an eye of the newt.
And you're back to horror movies.
So yes,
yeah, we thought we'd talk a bit more crafty tonight.
yes,
Because we've answered lots of questions. We've got a few tonight.
yeah,
Not
we've got
many,
a couple of questions
that people
to
have
answer,
asked. But we thought we'd talk a bit more about what we do in crafty wise. So,
So, Brian,
go on.
tell me,
Yeah.
you're listening?
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening out there? What are you doing at the moment? No, first of all, tell me how you get your inspiration. Where does it come from?
All over the place. Pinterest, as you know.
Pinterest.
I own Pinterest.
Brian doesn't get any other new pins to pin on Pinterest because he's got them all. He is Pinterest. In fact, he's keeping the servers going. If he hadn't got any
Probably.
pins, there wouldn't be anything on Pinterest.
Well, it just sparks lots of ideas and sends me off on tangents. And like I was looking the other day, I've got 25,000 pictures on my phone.
What? What? Can't speak. Saved to your phone.
Yeah.
25,000 photos saved to your phone.
Nearly 26,000 actually.
What? What? No.
And they tend
So,
to be.
Brian,
Most of the things I keep are not pictures, not photographs, because I don't really keep photographs.
No.
They tend to be
Pictures is
pictures
found online
pictures of things I like. Yeah.
as inspiration.
Yeah.
25,000. So, one of the things I just need to say on that note is Brian keeps saying to me, FaceTime has stopped working, and iMessage has stopped working, and I don't have any signal anymore. It might be that there isn't any space for a signal anymore because you've got all your storage is filled with 25,000.
My IT manager hasn't had a look at it recently, so I don't know.
So 25,000. Brian, do you know how many, like how much space that's? My mind's completely blown. Can you tell? I have. Let me just tell you what I have. I mean, I do have quite a few.
That's like my inspiration comes from all over the place, but if I see something, I keep the picture because then it makes me go, oh, where was that picture? So, and then every now and again I have to go back and take out all the ones that are duplicated 4 or 5 times because I see it and go, oh, I like that, and then a month later I see it and go, oh, I like that, and then a month later I see it and go, oh, I like that.
And doesn't it say you've already pinned this post a billion times?
Well, not all from Pinterest. So,
I've
a lot of them
got
are.
6,500 photos on, but most of mine are photos.
Yeah.
And some of them are my digitals, so I'll download my digitals to check them and that sort of thing to send to you mainly.
Yeah,
so I've got 6,500 digitals, and that takes up about 128 gigabytes of data. Your poor phone.
Doing all right, still going.
Buckling under the weight.
Most of the time. Anyway, so it comes from all over the place. I tend to, and then once I see something, I get a bit obsessed, and so I'll see something and it'll spark an idea, but then it becomes a bit obsessive for a while. So then it creates this whole thousands of ideas of pictures around it. So I have to go looking for stuff. So I go through phases.
So is that your main source of inspiration? Is seeing things and being inspired by it? So you don't replicate things, do you?
No.
You just see something and think, and that could take you completely a different direction. So you could see something that was like, because we were talking about denim the other day, but you could see something denim, but actually go like down the Japanese route, but using like a blue theme to take.
Well, yeah, like denim's an interesting one because we were talking about that the other day. I saw a thing on Facebook on one of these sites where people are using AI and then been given prompts, and a woman had put some pictures up who she said it wasn't her prompt. The only prompt was blue denim man and blue denim woman, and I really liked them, so I've kept them, but it sparked this whole idea that I'm going to do a denim journal. But it's also one of the reasons why I learnt shibari sewing, one of those courses, domestica courses that you got for me at Christmas.
Have you done one?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I haven't done mine yet.
But that's why I wanted to do the shibari, because
I don't know what the shibari is.
It's blue. It's a type of blue. Or they're generally blue anyway, and it's stitching. It's a type of stitching. And embroidery, and I wanted to learn that, but that sort of worked alongside the wanting to do denim journal.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because it's that kind of not necessarily associated, but a theme that you kind of drawn into, which opens other doors and you do other things.
Yeah, because my brain just goes, I could do, I could do, I could do. So yeah. So it comes from all over the place, but yeah, if I see pictures, I always keep them because I like them. Mm-hmm. I like to have them. If I could print them all out and have them on a big wall, like if I had a mansion, it'd have a massive wall of just like, like I used to have at work, behind me on my desk when we were both teaching. Yeah, like a mood board almost behind me, and I'd just have a big wall like that full of pictures that you could just go, look at that one, and look at that one. Mm-hmm. No. What about you?
Where does my inspiration come from? A lot. This is going to sound really weird, but a lot of my inspiration flows it's like somebody opening the sluice gate on a dam when I have a migraine. Mm-hmm. Most of my ideas come thick and fast when I've got a migraine, and I have all of this almost like if you open. That cupboard that you've got in your house that's like you've shoved everything into for so long that when you open it next time everything falls out. You kind of have to put your arm against it to stop it from or if you've got a lot of Tupperware, you're saying like
does that mean then that psychologically somewhere there's a barrier saying can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that, and then you need a migraine to make you go, actually I can.
I've wondered why. I think maybe that there is an element of that maybe it's because I think when I have a migraine, I don't have that protective filter, that thing that says you can't do that, you can't, because my brain is just it's so painful and it's so it takes up all of my energy just doing anything else with a migraine, that I don't have that kind of thing, the barrier that says you can't do this, and maybe that's what it is. Or is it that I get a migraine because there is so much creativity flowing,
just trying to burst out through your eye.
It's
burst out into your craft room. So maybe whenever you have a migraine, you just go sit at your desk.
I wonder if because I've often thought, because my migraines have got more frequent and they last longer. They used to last 3 days. They now last 4 days. They get more symptoms to them. Because I used to get, the aura, then a 3-day migraine. Now I get a little bit of aura, not so much anymore. But I feel very nauseous these days. And I get like a 3-day migraine, but I get a day of nausea.
I really see a doctor about this.
Well, this is what I was saying. But thinking, if I went to see the doctor, and she says, "What do you think the triggers are?" Creativity. But I don't. I'm also a bit afraid that I don't want them to stop, because if they stop, does that mean that my creativity will dry up? But no, that's where
in my head now all I can see is I know you've not seen it, but there was a series
The Shining.
No, there was a series called Penny Dreadful, which I absolutely
no, yeah, that sounds like
all I can see is a picture of Eva Green having her head shaved and the Victorian doctor drilling into the side of her head. It's just like,
For
how do you
lobotomy,
fix
you're
it?
going to say.
Take it a little bit out.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
to stop
Yeah, I don't want to go see the doctor now.
overactive brain.
Although my doctor would say, what do you think it is?
Oh, that's true.
Or have you Googled it?
Yeah. Or what do you want? What do you want me to give you?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me what you want me to do. Or just go, yeah, well, that happens.
What's typing and ignoring it?
And ignoring me, yeah. But yeah, I think that's, I don't know whether that's where my creativity comes from or it's a result of my creativity. But I do tend to find that that's where a lot comes from. And if it's not that, it's the replication of things. So my brain will also see something, and I think that takes me off on a tangent. A bit like when with your Pinterest. I'll see something that'll take me off on a tangent because I can't, it's really hard for me to watch any TV programs without having to make a list of things that I want to look up.
Yeah.
And then I've looked up, so you look up something, you could look up something like bread, and then like you look up the bread making process, and then it tell you about yeast, and then like you have to look up about yeast, and then like somebody would say about growing it in a lab, then I'd have to look about laboratories, and then who invented the word yeast, and then like I might make it something based around the name of the person that discovered yeast.
Yeah, I get that. The amount of times I've watched in here, and it's like, what are you watching? Oh, I saw this thing, and I just needed to know how it was made.
I've got a very curious mind, and I think that's what took me down the whole utilitarian thing, is because like I like the look of things, and I want to replicate that kind of that feeling,
yeah,
of it being old and surrounded by old things that aren't old.
Yeah.
Because I love old things, but I don't necessarily like old things. So I love old things because I like the idea of them, but I don't like touching them.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
It might be dirty or
Yes.
feel horrible. Or...
yeah.
So it needs to be
my
shiny,
brain thinks
shiny
about,
and
like,
new, but look old.
Yes. Well, that's it. Because my brain thinks the amount of people that have coughed on that or sneezed on it, or might have put it in. Like I can't. At work, I'm
Says
sick.
the man
of
who licked a statue.
I know, but like nobody's going to put that back in their mouth, are they? So like, it's me licked a statue that nobody else has licked.
No, actually, somebody else was telling me about their child licking a statue,
Oh.
and I was like, oh, I know someone who's done that.
It wasn't cold, by the way. I'm not still stuck to it. It's that because like at work, there's somebody at work that chews pens, and like every time I pick up a pen, I think, oh. So that's what.
You have to get clean one out of the packet every time.
No, because I have my
like in a
ones.
syringe packet.
All of my ones on my desk go back in my drawer, so that then nobody goes in my drawer because there's a live scorpion in there. So like, no, actually, it's a bit like my butter. So I've got the butter in the fridge at work. Digressing slightly here.
Yeah, go on.
And I on the butter. It's actually butter that me and Christine buy. So me and Christine sit in the desk next to each other, and Christine's my assistant. So we share like a tub of Lurpak. So it says Dave and Christine's Lurpak. If you're not Dave or Christine, then this isn't yours.
And how many people has it stopped?
I don't know, but now I put a seal over it at the side, and I sign it so that if somebody goes in it, they break the seal, and I know. Because I can't cope.
Office politics.
I can't cope with it. And honestly, somebody puts something on the group chat all the time about like, who's used my milk? Somebody sliced a piece of my cheese. Somebody rubbed my slice of bread on the floor. Or I don't know. That's like an example. I'm not saying they have. It wasn't me. So anyway,
so do you put who brought the seal on my Lurpak?
Yes.
Who peeled back my
and
foil?
That's not a euphemism.
Who peeled back my foil?
And that's not a euphemism either. So having said where your inspiration comes from,
Yeah.
what are you working on now?
um, John Marv.
Well,
So I've got a medieval
25 minutes.
Got a medieval thing going on because I've got quite obsessive about that and how I can recreate illuminated pages. And there's a video coming out about this because I've just spent about 3 weeks making prototypes and playing to try and make something that isn't an illuminated page, but it looks like one from a journal point of view. So I'm quite pleased with the results of that. So I've been doing that. So I've got this whole medieval thing, and in my head I've got this whole range of things that I want to do with the medieval stuff. I'm also doing this whole lot of steampunk stuff because I've got quite into that recently, and I've been making prototypes for that. So I'm going to start filming that, and that'll be a little series because I've got a bit obsessive about that as well, and how I can make cogs and all sorts of stuff. Payday's going to involve some shopping for steampunky stuff. I'm doing sort of scrappy stuff as well because Angela the Travelling Crafter got me kind of hooked on what I can do with my scraps. I've got lots of little short videos that I've started making that'll come out about working with scraps because of all the little things that I do that you don't really think about, where you keep all the silly little bits of something and then what you make them into. And then the other thing I started doing was I want to make an ideas book because I go through phases of making things like a certain pocket or a certain something or other that'll go in all of the journals, but then I forget about it for months. So I started making an ideas book, but it's all made out of craft paper. And again, it's kind of got a bit of a steampunky theme because it's got one stamped. I made some paper with a stamp on the craft paper and started sort of replicating some of the things. This was interesting, and this was me replicating exactly, watching a YouTube video and trying to make exactly what they made. And not one of the things that I made looked like the thing that I was copying, but same sort of design element, so that I can keep them all in a big book and have an ideas book. And I could do all 4 of those in one evening because I'll get halfway through and then go, I'm going to do this now. Or like I've started playing with my distress oxides a lot more, trying to make rusty effects and stuff like that. So put a layer down, put it away and let it dry for an hour, do something else and then pick it up and do another layer. And so there's a lot.
Yeah.
Because my brain just can't do one thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. What are you doing? What's going on in your life?
So obviously I'm still doing my folio thing. I've recorded a whole load of videos for that. It takes me up to almost the end of May for that.
Cool.
But I'm working on some digitals. So I'm working on a second medieval kit. So the medieval stuff that I brought out was because Brian wanted it. So, and I'm working on some steampunk, some Egyptian, some like just decorative design stuff, and something that's very similar to kind of Edith Holden-y, because I don't want to cut up the Edith Holden.
Hoarding.
So yes, well,
hoarding the Holden.
I just don't like cutting it up. It feels like such like
you have so much of it.
I know, but it's so beautiful, and I like it. Want it to last forever, and I think if I cut it up, then like I'll be down to only having 8 copies of it. But no, let's say like something along that kind of genre. I'm trying to replicate things that I like. So I see a lot of things, and I like to replicate it. So I'm a bit. You would say I was being ungenerous. I don't know. Is ungenerous a word? No, not very generous about myself. But I see myself as like a photocopier of life. So I see something, and I want to replicate it. And so that's.
But I think that's only one aspect of the stuff you do, like with your when you're making folios and that sort of thing, is you'll see a particular folder and you'll want to find a way of copying it almost exactly, like almost like those new folders with a little metal curve in them that we bought, and you made an old looking version of it because you wanted to replicate it exactly. So there is that part of you that wants to replicate things to look exactly like the original form, but an older version. But then you also do create a lot of stuff like your faux metal that you did, your Scotch metal, that is just, that's not a copy of anything, that's just you playing basically. Trying to make metal look like warped or scorched or acid burned, or, you know what I mean?
I think I find it hard to see that in me because I don't feel like I have an imagination. I don't. If I close my eyes, I don't. When people say that they close their eyes and they can see things, I can't see anything when I close my eyes. I see the inside of my eyelids. That's all I see. Honestly, that's all I see. And like, so when people have said, you know, when I was learning to drive and somebody said to me, try hypnosis because that'll help you to calm down, you know, during, like, obviously not like to be completely under and turn into a chicken halfway through the driving license, but because that wouldn't go down very well.
No.
I might cluck it up. So
you're funny.
But I couldn't. But I mean, I've told loads of people this before, and I'm sure I've said this on the channel before, several times before. But the person I went to for the hypnosis actually gave my money back and said, "Look, I can't hypnotise you because every time they say something, imagine you're on a sandy beach and there's palm trees. I've never been on a sandy beach with palm trees, so I don't know what that is. So I can only, if I close my eyes and if I have to picture something, I don't actually see a picture of it, but I can think about something, and the things that I can think about are the things that I know to be true and exist in the world. But I can't imagine something that is not there. But equally, I don't imagine it, so I don't see a picture of it.
But it's weird though, because you love things like sci-fi films.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's because it sparks some creativity. Because I've got an image to base it on. So when somebody says, "Imagine, an alien world," I'll have seen one on Star Trek, and therefore I'll think about that. But when people say that they can close their eyes and see images, that's like, wow. I'd never watch anything on TV if I could do that.
Or open your eyes.
Yeah, or open my eyes, to be fair. Yeah. And so I think that's... But yeah, anyway, so digressing. So I've been working on the utilitarian stuff, and I've been doing the digital stuff, so I've been doing a lot of digital stuff in the background. It takes an absolute age to get anything out, especially putting it on Etsy. And I've got some good ideas for some new upcoming things that I've kind of seen that I want to kind of do a bit of a fusion mashup.
Oh, even I don't know about a mashup. Did you
do the mash, do the monster mash?
Monsters and potatoes all in one bowl.
It was a playground smash, apparently. He's back to his song lyrics. The other day I woke up in the morning and feeling fine. No, there's something special on my mind. No, every time I think of something, I honestly, I get song lyrics in my head all the time. And I woke up the other morning.
Luckily, you don't sing.
Luckily, I don't. Luckily for you guys out there, I don't sing.
That's what I meant. I've heard.
But I did have to sing it. I had to sing it to Google to find out what it was called, and it ended up being "Hard Habit to Break" by Chicago. And I woke up in the morning with that in my head.
I have, weirdly, because I remember film lyrics more, but I usually have a song, like an earworm, most days, and I'm convinced I pick the radio up on my fillings or something. Because I'm always like, where on earth have I heard that get stuck in my head?
Well, I went to bed at night, it wasn't in my head, woke up in the morning, and Another illusion I chose to create.
Yeah, don't. I love you, but don't.
Thanks. So, yeah. So, I should have a whole kit that's like like Tim Holtz has like the quote chips. I should have like mine should be song lyric chips.
Should, then you might have to pay someone copyright.
That's true. I'll just make them up myself. So
Slightly changed.
A lot of my song lyrics, as Brian knows, aren't actually the real lyrics.
No. What's
and
that
I've
thing on
ruined some songs for Brian because I sing something completely different, and he can't sing anything else now other than the altered version.
Than the altered version. The Flynn version.
What was the? Sorry, you were saying what's the?
I don't know.
No, can't remember.
Gone out my head.
So, didn't we have some questions that were still kind of
only a couple
lingering? I mean, please do put in comments for any questions you'd like us to answer, because
topics you'd like us to talk
topics to cover, or I don't know, songs you'd like us to no. Don't get me singing.
Any stories, anything about coming out? We were asked.
Oh, yeah. So coming out. I'm coming out. No,
too late. You already did. We all know it. We already did.
Yes, the world already knows. What's your coming out story?
Ran away from home. That was it, basically. And then never went back.
Yeah, no, but you must have come out to somebody at some point. Like, say you ran away from home, and you must have come out to people whoever you ran to, not from.
Yeah. Yeah. So my friend that I talked about last week, Mads, who was a big inspiration, was the first person I ever told, and then we kind of looked after each other for donkey's years. But then I'd run away to London, and I was kind of thrust into the midst of a gay world, so coming out wasn't something I had to sit and do to people.
It wasn't a conscious thing.
Everywhere that I was surrounded by gay people. I ended up living in a commune of gay people, went to gay youth club. Like, everything I did, my whole life was immersed in it from the minute I'd run away, I suppose. So
a bit like a tap on the sink. So hot, cold, and gay.
Yeah, basically. Everything was. And I guess there were hard times during all of that, because obviously I'd run away from home and come from a tiny little town to a huge big city, and I was very young and I was by myself, and I had to look after myself and grow up and learn to do stuff. So there were some hard bits, but the other thing it taught me was not to ever apologise for it, and not to ever apologise for anything. Just get on with it, and if people didn't like it, that was their issue, not my issue.
That's something I'd love to be able to do, is not apologise for being me.
You should never have to.
I know, but like you've kind of been nurtured with that. Obviously, not as a child. No. I mean, as a impressionable adult, you have been nurtured to not apologise for who you are and what you do and who you love.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think I think a lot of gay people of our age didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people. So I think there's a lot of gay people who of my kind of generation who feel almost shame for who they are.
Yeah. There's a lot of gay people our age who got married, had kids.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are still married, still have kids.
It doesn't surprise me the people that have said, I'm married, or people that have said I've been married. They're not a shock, and they're not a surprise to me or to you, because as a gay man in our 50s, that's quite a consistent narrative.
Yeah. And I know mine was
because societal pressure was, in some ways you were quite lucky to have that. You weren't lucky to be in the circumstances you were because you ran away from home, and it must have been difficult at times.
Some of it was, but it's like overall, and I guess if I was younger, I could probably talk more about the shitty bits and the horrible bits and the bits that I didn't like, and the loneliness and the upset and the missing the family. But at this age, I thank God that I did what I did, and I wouldn't do it any differently if you took me back there, because look at life now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy with my life now. I'm happy with the person that I am, and like I said, I don't apologise for that. I'm quite happy being who I am, and if people don't like that, that's...
So just a question. I mean, like, obviously, I'll tell you about my story, but like, just a question from my perspective. When did you know? Because I find that a really hard thing for somebody to say to me, because I knew that I was different. I didn't like the things that other boys of my age at the time did, but I don't know whether I knew what the word was or what the term was, because I led a bit of a sheltered life, to be fair. So,
and I guess the same, because there wasn't a lot out there for us in terms of inspiration,
role models,
people on telly, anything like that. Right now, and same thing. I always knew I was different, and it took, I think it was about 12 or 13. I'd been at secondary school for a year or so.
Yeah.
And a couple of boys had just spent a whole day verbally abusing me, and I ended up talking to a teacher because I was in tears, and she was my drama teacher, so she was very sort of hippie and boho and laid back. And I was like, they're calling me gay, and she just went, well, yeah, I don't know, and she explained very graphically and concisely exactly what being a gay man was, and it was like a light bulb went on. It was like, oh my God, that's me. But there was no sort of years of angst of how do I deal with this. It was just like, oh, well, right, I know what I am now. Yeah. I've got a name for it, and that was it. So I accepted it really quickly.
So whereas coming out for me came out at the age of 18, but not by my choosing.
No.
I was kind of outed. Somebody in my life had said to somebody at work that they thought I was gay. The people at work were talking about me being gay, and my mum came in and heard them talking about me being gay. And I was living away from home at the time, because I was living with my first boyfriend, but hadn't told parents that. You know, they knew that I was living away from home, but they didn't know why. And my mum, me and my mum had a great relationship as an adult, but it was difficult for her to start with, and she rang me up, and so like rang me up is a colloquialism for telephone call. Made a telephone call to me. This is before obviously mobile phones, and asked me these words: "Are you a homosexual?" And I really do not like that term. I hate that term. It's so clinical. It's so like, it's not
textbook.
Yeah, it is. It's textbook. Yeah, because like nobody calls anybody, "Are you a heterosexual?" And nobody's ever been asked that. Are you going to come out as a heterosexual?
Gay or straight, mate?
People are straight or gay, but but also nobody's had to come out as heterosexual. Nobody's had to sit down with the family and say, "Look, I've got something to tell you."
These days, maybe.
I'm heterosexual.
I'm really sorry, my mum's straight. How could you do that to me?
But my mum called and said, "Was I homosexual?" And I said, "No." And it was a frosty conversation, and she hung up and everything. And then I called her back 20 minutes later and said, "I'm not a homosexual. I'm gay. Because, like, you know, as
Split
a young
Yeah.
adult, you're kind of a bit like smart arse about all of this. So, like, I'd said this, and it was the worst thing I'd ever done, because it was confirming something that they didn't want to know, and it meant that all the bullying that had gone on at school had gone on for a reason, and, you know, everything that I'd been, you know, all the torture I'd been through was a kind of a justification. You know, no wonder they were like that with him, because, like, you know, he is like that, and it was all a bit, it was horrible. And then I was estranged from my family for quite a long time, about 18 months. Didn't really have anything to do with them, and because, like, you know, I've been brought up family orientated, because I've got older sisters, and, you know, and I was the youngest, and it was really heart-wrenching, and I hated every minute of it. And I'd love to say it really empowered me, but it didn't, because I didn't have anybody, and there were no role models then. Yeah. So today, I've got to say, we really need, I don't follow sport, but we really, really, really need people in sport to come out and be openly gay and still participate in their sports. Now, some sports it's acceptable to be gay, but a lot of them don't come out until they're retired. But we need, so, like, in the UK, soccer, as most, you know, people in America call it, you never call it soccer here unless you want to be sockered in the eye. You'd call it football here. We don't have any, well, not any, like, Premier League openly gay footballers for, you know, anybody, male or female, you know, non-binary, anybody at home to be thinking, you know, it's okay. It's okay. You can still be masculine and kick a ball round on a field and still be...
Look, I kind of get why, though, because there are precedents for that.
Yes, yeah, there are.
We had a footballer that killed himself.
Yes, exactly. But we need to get past that. Because when as a child, I didn't have any... And I hated the idea of being gay, because I didn't want to be the people I saw on the TV that were ridiculed. You know, like, who did we have that was a role model?
John Inman.
Danny LaRue. Extremely camp. Danny LaRue. Extremely camp. Dick Emery.
Who weren't necessarily gay, but very camp on
Yes,
TV.
very. We had, what was him? Shut that door, look at this muck. The Generation Game. Larry Grayson. So, like, we didn't have anybody that was like and I didn't fit that brief. I wasn't camp, and I wasn't flamboyant, and maybe I'm more so now. But I found it really difficult to be. But, you know, I don't regret coming out, and, like, now I do it all the time. But I really do think we're past that point where people should be coming out.
Yeah.
And it really annoys me when somebody says, "Oh, well, we should have straight pride." Well, what have you fought for? Yeah, what have you fought for in order to have straight pride? What, you know, have you gone out at night and, you know, been scared of a beating for kissing a girlfriend, holding the girlfriend's hand? What? Yeah. You know, but also I think I'd love the gay community to know what other people have gone through. Because a lot of the gay community don't, like, the younger gay people don't know, and also think that older people are a bit irrelevant. But I know that's like that happens in everything.
Yeah, I think that's the same with all.
But if you were, you know, if you know, autistic people would find out, like, where autism came from and, like, you know, who discovered it and all of that, but gay people don't seem to want to know, or don't understand what people have gone through, or, you know, that gay pride now is a celebration, yes, but there's still a fight to be had.
Yeah.
And also people lost their lives for people to be able to have pride. You know,
Yeah.
every Pride march I went on as a young person was. I was terrified of it being televised.
We used to carry placards rather than have fun banners.
Yeah. And it was about visibility being there to be counted.
Yeah.
But not be, not because we could just go and have a good party and an ease up, and it was about.
True.
I've been to Pride when I was, I think 1988 was my first Pride, and I was absolutely terrified in case I was on the news. Yeah, because then it would be people knew.
Yeah.
And then of course I was autistic as well, so I wasn't even fitting into my own community. I mean, the gay community is a fallacy, because people think the gay community is like this social club that everybody goes to and everybody knows each other, but there is no community in it. There's unity, but there's not much community.
Community, yeah, it's like most things. It tends to be small clusters of communities.
Yeah.
Even in London, which was such a big place, there were different communities. There was the Soho community, but that was split into 3 different areas, and there was the Earls Court community, but that was split into 2 areas because there were 2 different pubs. There was the South London and the North London, so it kind of depended where you fit and where you lived and where you went drinking and who you hung out with. So.
But you had that opportunity, whereas there was one pub. And it wasn't a club.
No.
It was a pub that one Sunday every month, a Sunday of all times. God. Who wants to go out, to a pub
Me.
late night on a Sunday and have to go to work on a Monday, though, is what I'm saying.
Me.
Yeah, no, but you were in London. I'm talking about in real life.
Yeah.
Because London isn't like real life.
No.
London might as well be a separate island, because if you come to the UK and you visit only London, you don't see what living in the UK is like. You see what living in London is like.
It was very
even now.
Oh,
sorry,
not quite as much, I suppose. But even then, Sunday night used to be the night to go out, because we used to go to a pub called the Bell in King's Cross, and if you went on a Sunday night, you got a complimentary ticket for a nightclub for every night of the following week, because they had them all lined up on the back of the bar. So you got on a Sunday night, you got all your free tickets to get in everywhere for the week. We danced until 1 o'clock in the morning, because back in those days all the windows and everything were boarded up. So
that's for me. That's the thing, though. I went to this pub. It was, first of all, there was one place that was on a Sunday night, and that was at the Spittal Mall. It was in a really dodgy, rough part of town.
They always were back then.
And
some place you could go.
It was one of those places that you went in, but you were terrified of coming out of, because you don't know who was outside waiting for you to, give you a kicking or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that stopped doing the gay night, and then there was another place called the White Swan, and that was a Friday night, and that was every week, but that was a few years later on.
Yeah.
But equally in a really rough part of town.
They always were, though, because they were the parts of town where they
But it was
the gay areas. In most cities in this country, if you look, they're always by Chinatown, and they're always what used to be the roughest, cheapest part of the town.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's where you always ended up.
But it was one night. It was a guy called Gigi that ran it, and it was just because it made some money for him. He wasn't interested in looking out for anybody's well-being. He wasn't gay. He didn't really. He tolerated rather than liked. And it was a great night, but it was one place Coventry's a city, one place, and then there was Birmingham not far away, that had the Nightingale, and that was a nightclub. but we used to like going to Street Life in Leicester, which was a fantastic club. I can see it now, and it was just like a long street with like pavements either side and doors going into like places that looked like pubs, and it was actually, you open the door, there was a bar there, and there were traffic lights and zebra crossings, and at the very end of it, it kind of had a bit of a curve to it, and at the very end of it there was a mirror, so it reflected that street back again, so it looked like it was even bigger than it was.
Yeah.
And I used to love going there, so every time I listened to The Only Way Is Up by Yaz, that's where I picture myself.
Yeah.
The Only Way Is Up, baby. So yeah, that was kind of my coming out. Digressed a little bit. Got a little bit political,
That's
I think.
what people ask, so they get, don't
Yeah. Oh, and then the other question was like, what does Jodie Martin look like?
Oh yeah, Jodie wanted to know.
Same.
Hello, Jodie.
Hi, Jodie. Yeah.
What we imagine she looks like.
So I've always imagined Jodie to be blonde, wear glasses, and be American. And one of those I know to be true.
We don't know absolutely though.
And I would say,
you only know she lives there.
yeah, I'd say she was a similar sort of age to us. So maybe our age, maybe a little bit older. I don't know. She could be 27, 6'4" and have pink hair. I don't know.
I kind of have this picture of, I can't think of anyone that people would know. Kind of shortish, slightly rotund, very jolly, in a caftan with a gin in her hand.
Well, you see, I've always imagined her with a cocktail glass, like the classic martini glass, that triangular shape. Yeah, I've always. Which I'm not saying it was full, Jodie. I'm not saying it got anything in it. It might just have
Glued your hand.
Yes.
Can't get it off.
Going about your everyday business with a martini glass glued to your hand. I don't.
And full of love and good humour,
Yes,
and always jolly and sparkly and bouncy, and the life of the party. And
yeah,
that's how I imagine Jodie.
And crafty.
Yeah.
So you have to tell us whether we're anywhere like close. Yeah. You go, no, I'm not American. You got that wrong.
Yeah. Oh dear, interesting.
Very interesting. So
have you got a bit of?
Because like one of the things I grow is aloe vera.
He's got a bit of foliage on his lap.
I've broken the tip off my aloe vera, which again sounds like a euphemism. Everything I say sounds like a euphemism. Somebody at work said to me today,
the way you say it.
Every time you speak, I expect it to have like some kind of innuendo. I have like this track record, and like when I say something, the people go, "Really?" I'm like, no, I'm being serious. Like they don't, they think I'm just like everything is like.
That just goes to show what people think about you.
Yes, exactly.
Obviously, they think you have a filthy mind and you spend too much time doing things you shouldn't be doing.
Clearly.
Oh, that's funny.
And so, on that note, I think we might end this.
I'm never going to be able to listen to you the same again now. What was that?
Well, it's because every time I say something, I say, and that sounds like an innuendo, or
that's not a euphemism.
That's not a euphemism, or an octopus.
An octogenarian. I can say it now.
An octogenarian.
An octogenarian.
What's a 90-year-old, Lynn?
I don't know. Old.
A centaur? No, the centaur. That's 100, isn't it? Cent.
Centaur isn't that person that's half horse, half human? There might be 100, but they look ever so young with those horse legs.
Yes. Why the long face? Anyway, I'm feeling really hoarse now. I need to go.
No, stop. Back away from there.
Nay. Hey. Trot off.
Stop.
I can't think of any more.
Okay, enough. Say goodbye to the lovely people. Let's go.
Goodbye, lovely people. We will love you and leave you. You'll hear us next time.
Yeah.
On CBC.
We're going to get the Patho voice next. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And we'll see you all soon.
We won't really see you because it's like radio. Yeah. All right.
Metaphorically speaking.
Okay. Meteorically.
Yeah,
No.
Meteorically.
Right, folks. We're going to say goodbye. Thanks very much for listening to CBC. I won't sing that jingle again. No. Promise.
You promised you wouldn't sing, but that's twice now in one podcast.
And we will speak to you again soon.
Yeah.
Say goodbye, Brian.
Goodbye, Brian. Say goodbye, Dash.
Bye, Dash. I must dash. Mustache. Oh, sorry.
Thank you all.
See you later. Take care. Bye, folks. Bye. I don't know why I'm waving. Bye. Oh, wrong thing to stop.
You said they couldn't see.
Bye.
See you later.